You're listening to Whoa! Potluck.
And welcome back to Books and Boba. I'm Marvin Yue.
And I'm Rira Yu.
And Books and Boba, of course, is a podcast and book club featuring books by Asian and Asian American authors. It's time for our monthly news roundup where we talk about the new releases coming out in the month of July and also the latest book news. A quick reminder that the Books and Boba July book club pick is Exit West by Mohsen Hamid. I just picked up the book myself, and I'm actually a little glad. It's a little bit shorter than the other books we've been reading. So I did just finish my advanced review copy of Marie Lu's Warcross.
It's mine now. So excited.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward. So, yeah, something that we brought up on our Books and Boba social media, which Rira very, very expertly runs, is what's your summer book reading list besides Exit West by Mohsen Hamid?
Right now I'm reading Chemistry by Wiki Wang. And I don't know, like, it's not supposed to be a funny book, but it reads, like, it has such, like, dry humor in it. Like, it feels like I'm reading it in the voice of, you know that cartoon series Daria? Like, yeah. I keep reading it in Daria's voice.
And, like, super sarcastic.
Yeah, super sarcastic,
like,
super dry. So, it, like, I'm having a lot of fun reading it. And it's also a pretty short book. It's, like, around 200 pages. So
awesome.
That, and also for my other book club, I'm reading A Study in Charlotte. I forgot who the author was, but yeah, it's like a modern adaptation of Sherlock Holmes. But Sherlock Holmes is a woman, so yeah, so that's
Charlotte
interesting.
Holmes?
Charlotte Holmes, and it's like modernized, so it takes place in our time.
Is Dr. Watson also a female?
I don't know. I haven't like.
They haven't introduced
I haven't
him slash her slash them yet. Okay. That's interesting. I've been adding, so on my list to read, I have Crazy Rich Asians because I've heard it's a pretty breezy summer read.
That's a really good summer book, I would say.
I Believe in a Thing Called Love, which Rira let me borrow her copy. We had author Maureen Gu on earlier last month, I think, to talk about it. I'm looking forward to reading through
2 episodes ago, so you can listen to that on iTunes.
What else do I have on my table? I have I've been wanting to read some more classic Asian American literature, so I have Native Speaker. I dug up my copy from my Asian Lit class.
That's from such a long time ago.
Yeah, I've had a copy from my Asian American Lit class, but I never read it because I kind of just bullshitted my way through that.
Oh, that's college in a nutshell, right?
So I'm looking forward to reading it actually more critically. I kind of want to just dive into some classics.
Yeah. I also have Pachinko on my reading list, but because it's 400 pages, I'm like, I need to like chisel. I need to like read like a couple chapters at a time. I don't think I can binge read that.
Yeah. And something I'm adding to the list, I'm gonna try to hunt down a copy, is Nine Fox Gambit by Yoon-Han Lee, because it's been picking up all sorts of awards, and I feel like I need to.
And we've mentioned it so many times on this podcast because there's,
and I feel like it's like right up my alley, like that kind of like sci-fi, like yeah.
Look at you reading all these books.
I know what happened.
You've been transformed.
Also on our list is let's just get into it. The new releases of the month of July. Heroine Worship just came out on July 4th, published by DAW Books by our friend Sarah Kuhn.
It's DAW Books.
DAW.
Yeah, I had to like Google it to like figure it out. But yeah, edit point.
Okay, DAW Books. I just call it DAW. It's not called DAW.
No, it's DAW because it stands for someone's initials.
I'm just going to call it DAW.
Okay,
whatever.
DAW.
By our friend Sarah Kuhn, which Rira and I were both at her book launch party.
Oh my God, there were so many people there. I was really overwhelmed, but in a good way, I guess. Like, yeah, it was really nice to see so many people of not just like Asians, but like so many people of color, and different occupations. There were writers, artists, and musicians.
Yeah.
And, they were all just congregated there to support Sarah Kuhn's book. So I was really really impressed.
Yeah, Heroine Worship, of course, is the follow-up to Heroine Complex, which was the pilot episode of the Books and Boba Book Club. You can check out our first episode to figure out our thoughts about it. But I'm excited to read that. That's on my summer reading list too, for sure.
It's a good summer book.
Yeah.
It came out on 4th of July.
Very patriotic. 3 months after Avita Jupiter and her best friend, former assistant Evie Tanaka, vanquished otherworld demons, possibly for good, Avita is having an identity crisis. When Evie gets engaged and drafts Avita as her maid of honor, Avita finally sees a chance to reclaim her sense of self and sets out on a single-minded mission to make sure Evie has the most epic wedding ever. But when mysterious, unseen supernatural evil rises up and starts attacking brides-to-be, Avita must take down the enemy and make sure Evie's wedding goes off without a hitch, or see both her city and her most important friendship destroyed forever.
So at the launch party, there was Julia Choi, Will Choi, and Keiko Agena.
Julie Cho.
Oh, Julie Cho, sorry. But the three of them were doing excerpts, like they were acting out excerpts from the book, and I don't know, it brought such new life to it, I guess. So I'm pretty excited to read it too.
Yeah,
it seems pretty hilarious.
I was a pretty big fan of the first book as well, and I'm excited to see, because this book is told from Avita Jupiter's perspective. So they're switching it to the secondary character from the first book, which was a character that we all thought we wanted to see more of from the first book, right?
And Sarah Kuhn, the author, she did a guest post on Angry Asian Man's blog, and it's about dragon ladies and how she developed Avita Jupiter's character. So I would definitely recommend reading that. And we'll move on to our next new release on our list, and that's Monstrous Volume 2, The Blood, written by Marjorie Liu and illustrated by Sana Takeda. It released on July 5th, and it was published by Image Comics.
Another follow-up to one of our Books and Boba picks.
I know, it's been such a long time since our podcast started. No, not really.
We're almost a year old.
Almost a year
old, yeah.
That's ancient in podcast age. And the summary goes, Micah and her friends Kippa and Ren journey to Theria in search of answers to Micah's past and discover a terrible new threat. Their journey eventually leads the three heroes to the sea, where they meet Arcanic pirates turned smugglers, who are Micah's mother's old friends.
Nice. I remember, the first volume ended on a really big cliffhanger, and it's taken a lot of willpower not to just go in. And because the volume 2 is basically the next
it's issue 7 through 12. I'm not sure of the exact number, but yeah, I'm so excited. I need this book in my hands.
Yeah, it's out. So
yeah,
we should do. Maybe we can do a special, maybe either a bonus pod or just a special issue where we just talk about the follow-ups.
Yeah, I have to say, of all the book club meetings that we've had, Monstrous was the one with the most amount of people. I don't know if it was because it was a graphic novel and it had less page numbers than other picks, but I mean, it took me a while to finish it because I'm just the type of person who takes a long time to read graphic novels, but a lot of people went through it really quickly.
I devoured it. It was just it was good read.
I lent my first volume to a friend, and I still haven't gotten it back. Oh, no. And it's just give it back.
That was your first mistake. Next up, we have Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Kong. Releases on July 11th, which is this coming week, or it might have already released by the time this podcast is out. Who knows? But July 11th, if it's after, then it's out. It's published by Scribner UK. Freshly disengaged from her fiancé and feeling that life has not turned out quite the way she planned, 30-year-old Ruth quits her job, leaves town, and arrives at her parents' home to find family life more complicated than she'd realized. Her father, a prominent history professor, is losing his memory. Her mother, like Ruth, is smarting from a betrayal. But over the course of the year, the comedy in her situation takes hold, gently transforming her grief.
So I've been seeing this book pop up here and there in summer recommendations. So I don't know. It's something that people should check out if they're looking for something contemporary.
I feel it's a very so I'm on the older end of the millennial spectrum, and it sounds like a book made for my cohort of the millennial generation. Or a cautionary tale, not cautionary, or a tale, or a glimpse in the future for the younger millennial generations. But definitely
It's like a quarter life crisis book.
There's a lot of things from that description that really I can relate to.
Yeah. Actually, this was one of the choices for the Book of the Month Club. I didn't pick it because I ended up picking The Final Girls, which is like a murder mystery type of book.
Was that a movie?
I don't know.
The Last Girl. It's a horror movie trope, right? Like the final girl, the last girl.
Yeah, the final girl. Yeah. But it was like one of the Book of the Month Club choices. So it means that it's good, because if it's on the selection list, then it's impressive.
Awesome.
Next, we have The Diplomat's Daughter by Karen Tanabe. It releases on July 11th, and it's published by Washington Square Press. Following the 1941 bombing of Pearl Harbor, 21-year-old Emi Kato, the daughter of a Japanese diplomat, is locked behind barbed wire in a Texas internment camp. She feels hopeless until she meets handsome young Christian Lange, whose German-born parents were wrongfully arrested for un-American activities. When Emi and her mother are sent back to Japan, Christian enlists in the U.S. Army in hopes of reuniting with Emi, unaware that her first love, Leo Hartmann, the son of wealthy Austrian parents and now a Jewish refugee in Shanghai, may still have her heart. So, good historical romance.
Next up is A Life of Adventure and Delight by Akhil Sharma. Releases on July 11th, published by W.W. Norton Company. In this collection of 8 short stories, author Akhil Sharma focuses on Indian protagonists at home and abroad. A young woman in an arranged marriage awakens one day, surprised to find herself in love with her husband. A retired divorcee tries to become the perfect partner by reading women's magazines. A man's long-standing contempt for his cousin suddenly shifts inward when he witnesses his cousin caring for a sick woman. The protagonists in Sharma's book deceive themselves and engage in odd behaviors as they navigate how to be good and how to make meaningful relationships.
So that is a collection of short stories, which we haven't really tackled in our podcast, but eventually we will. Next, we have The Library of Fates by Aditi Khorana, and her book releases on July 18th, and it's published by Razorbill. Princess Amrita of Shalingar offers herself as a bride to Sikander, the ruthless dictator of Macedon, to save her people. She sacrifices everything, her family, her childhood love, and her freedom, but her offer isn't enough. Amrita flees for her life, rescuing Sikander's enslaved oracle, Thala, in the process. Together, these women rely on their talents and each other as they search for a way to restore peace to the land, develop their true identities, and find the library of all things, where it is possible for each of them to reverse their fates. I've heard a lot of things about this book, and people in the YA book blogging community are super excited about it.
Nice.
So
is it is it a fantasy or is it more of a historical fiction?
It's fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out because pretty sure Shalingar isn't a real country.
No.
But Macedon is, kind of.
I mean, I might have mispronounced that. Who knows? But yeah.
Or I think of Macedonia. I don't know. Anyways. Sounds fun. Next up is Hate to Want You by Alicia Rai. Releases on July 25th, published by Avon. Every year, Livy Kane and Nicholas Chandler would share one perfect night of illicit pleasure, despite the long-standing feud between their two families. When Livy doesn't show up one night, the deal is off, and the two go on with their respective lives, with Nicholas running his family's grocery store empire and Livy traveling as a nomadic artist. But when a family emergency brings Livy back to her hometown, the two struggle to stay away from each other. So
it's erotica.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're under 18, be cautious. I mean, read whatever you want.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter.
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, I saw the cover and it looked pretty racy. And the final book on our new releases list for July is Spirit Hunters by Ellen O. It releases on July 25th, and it's published by HarperCollins.
Ellen O of We Need More Diverse Books, right?
Yeah, she's the co-founder. Yeah.
Nice.
So the summary goes, Harper Rain doesn't trust her new home from the moment she steps inside, and the rumors are that her family's new house is haunted. She isn't sure she believes those rumors until her younger brother, Michael, starts acting strangely. The whole atmosphere gives Harper a sense of déjà vu, but she can't remember why. She knows that the memories she's blocking will help make sense of her brother's behavior and the strange and threatening sensations she feels in this house. But will she be able to put the pieces together in time?
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. It's a middle grade book.
Nice.
but it sounds fun.
Yeah, get it for yourself or for your young reader.
I like reading ghost stories or crime novels during the summer. I don't know. It's like, I think it's like a Korean thing because a lot of horror movies come out in Korea during the summer. Yeah, because like when you get scared, like you get like goosebumps, so it like cools you down. I don't know, like that's what I heard growing up, so that kind of translated into books.
Yeah, I mean, that makes as much sense as releasing everything on October 31st.
Yeah. While like everybody's like on the beach reading like romance novels or like summer beach reads, I'm like, oh, murder.
Those are the new releases that we found for the month of July, written by Asian American authors. If we missed anything, please let us know on our Goodreads forums and on Twitter. We'll try to bring it up on a subsequent episode. As always, there's just the two of us, and it's not easy keeping track of all these things, even though Rio does a really good job.
Marvin does a good job too. But before we move on to book news, I do want to make a correction. So on episode 18 of Books and Boba, we set the incorrect title for S.J. Sindhu's novel.
What?
The correct title is Marriage of a Thousand Lies. So sorry about that too.
Sorry for all of you guys trying to Google it and not finding it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
but
not.
We made the correction. We said it right.
Yeah, we said it right.
The world is in its right access now. Okay.
Rita's very thorough, is what I've learned.
I'm a type A personality, if you haven't realized this by now.
Let's move on to book news, where we talk about the latest news and deals and news of the literary world when in regards to Asian and Asian American authors.
So we want to make a shout out to author Lauren Lola, who is also a fellow
member of the club.
Yeah, member of the Books and Boba Club. She will be publishing a follow-up to her debut novel, A Moment's Worth. It's a short story called 46, and it releases on July 11th. The story follows the political awakening of two grad students who decide to take part in the resistance after seeing Islamophobic flyers at the Warm Springs BART station. So, I've heard snippets from Lauren. Lauren was inspired to write the short story because of the political climate right now.
45, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, check it out. She's a good writer, and she's very outspoken and passionate, as you can tell from our Goodreads forums.
Yeah. Congrats, Lauren, on the follow up. And moving on to a new book deal. Debut author Helen Hong closed a worldwide agreement for 3 books with Berkeley. The first book, The Kiss Quotient, is set for June 2018 and is about a woman with Asperger's who hires a male escort to help her learn to be a girlfriend. The second and third books in the series are set for winter 2018 and summer 2019, respectively. So congrats to Helen Hong.
That's interesting. Maybe it's because, for me, I'm dating someone who has Asperger's, so it's just I'm curious. When it comes out, I'll definitely pick it up and check it out. Yeah. Congratulations to author Angel Halo Chang for successfully completing her Kickstarter. The Kickstarter were for her picture books, which were inspired by her experiences growing up with poor eye vision, dreaming of becoming a wedding planner, teaching pre-K, and singing about a moose. Her first book, Ceres the Rhino, is about Ceres, a green rhino who gets help from a kiwi bird to help Ceres and his family see clearly. Her second book, Wedding Planning Galore, tells the silly story of a bride's plan for an elaborate wedding until she realizes it's the marriage and not the wedding that counts. And her third book, Today's Lesson, personifies President Trump's behaviors as one of her pre-K students and highlights the importance of teaching respect at an early age. And her last book, The Moose, tells a story about an unaware moose in the wild. So these are picture books. Wow, it's for woke kids, right?
Yeah. Teach them early not to be bridezillas or groomzillas. I think that's interesting. Cool. Congrats to Angel on her successful Kickstarter. We're looking forward to seeing these books out in the wild. Next up, the Kappa Press will publish How to American, a narcissistic memoir disguised as an immigrant story. Next spring, it's the autobiography of Jimmy O. Yang, the comedian actor who plays Jin Yang in the HBO comedy Silicon Valley. The book will be published in April 2018. And in it, Yang will share hilarious, important stories of assimilating into American culture, which includes watching BET's Rap City, figuring out how to date girls who are 6 inches taller than him, and dodging his parents' unrelenting attempts to get him to be a studious model Asian son. He also takes a serious turn by writing about his burgeoning acting career, the choices he made, and the compromises he refuses to make.
Another memoir by an Asian American actor / celebrity. Because we had Anna Akana's memoir that came out last month, and then we also had Ryan Higa's memoir.
Yeah.
So it seems to be a rising trend.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of these come out because we've had Mindy Kaling, Aziz Ansari, like people who are making it in entertainment and business and like finding success in the world are now trying to inspire.
Yeah, it's really
generation.
great when you go to a Barnes and Noble and you go to like the inspiring memoir section. Like they have a table set out there, and then you look at the covers, and it's like, oh, there's brown people and black people and Asian people.
Yeah.
It's not just all white, like it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's really reassuring.
It's cool.
Moving on. Simon Pulse acquired When Ashish Met Sweetie by Sandhya Menon, a companion novel to the best-selling When Dimple Met Rishi, which was released last May.
This is the book that's been all over social media with the Boba, the teacup.
Yeah, with the coffee, the iced coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went straight to Boba. That's just my brain. Books and Boba.
The novel is told in dual perspectives following Rishi's brother Ashish as he hilariously navigates love and identity in the wake of a crushing breakup. And Sweetie Nair, a heavyset athlete who wants to prove to herself that she's more than just her dress size. The publication is scheduled for summer 2019. And the second book, because it's a dual book deal, the second book is currently untitled and publication is scheduled for summer 2019.
Yeah, congrats for getting that second. It's really cool to see the momentum that happens when people realize that, oh, people like this story.
Yeah. I mean, it's always encouraging to see like non-white people on covers because it's like it's an Indian American girl on the cover, and a lot of people have been like hashtagging it, and there's been a really big Instagram movement on it.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Sandhya Menon.
Congrats. Next story is the 2017 Locus Awards just announced their winners. Locus Awards are, I guess, the Locus magazine is a Bay Area-based science fiction fantasy outlet. And a lot of times their winners are a signal to, it's like the Golden Globes or the Oscars. It's like a signal to who's
Isn't
the
that
front
weird
runners.
that like, that in publishing they have like their own award season?
Yeah. And it's super exciting because quite a lot of Asian Americans and Asian authors won awards for their categories. So first up, we have science fiction novel winner Death's End by Cixin Liu. I think that's how you pronounce that in Pinyin, which is is the third book in his series or is the second one. But the series that started with the Three Body Problem, which is this really lauded science fiction story translated from Chinese. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The first novel winner goes to Nine Fox Gambit by Yoon-Ha Lee.
There it is again. It pops up everywhere, I swear.
I'm excited for the day that one of our Books and Boba picks ends up as a prize winner.
I mean, Montress won.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's already happened. Novelette winner goes to You'll Surely Drown Here If You Stay by Alyssa Wong. Crash Wong on Twitter, who's been all over our Twitter feed lately. Congrats to her. And Best Collection winner goes to The Paper Menagerie and Other Stories by Ken Liu.
All of these books are on our Listopia on Goodreads. And it's just like... I mean, our Listopia is pretty long. There's over 100 books on there. And it's just like, wow. Like,
yeah.
Every time I see those titles like being mentioned in awards or like being nominated, I'm like, oh, we should read that. But there's just so many books.
I know there's a lot, and we try to balance between newer books and older books
and genres,
different genres,
and
authors.
Page count.
There's a lot of science and algorithm that goes behind Riva's decision making. But yeah, congrats to all the winners and looking forward to, I want to read all of these. Like I want to read the Three Body Problem eventually, hopefully. And definitely, need to check out Alyssa Wong's short story and yeah, lots of good stuff to read.
Next on our news is two New Jersey high school students, Volchi and Guo, just published a racial literacy curriculum called The Classroom Index, a 224-page textbook filled with personal stories from people of all stripes about race, as well as discussion points for use in the classroom. So far, they have distributed about 650 copies to individuals and schools in more than 24 states. Their efforts have won them awards, including Princeton University's Princeton Prize in Race Relations, which recognizes high school students who promote understanding and respect among people of all races.
It's one of those things that you wonder, why wasn't there a standardized curriculum for this type of thing to begin with, right? Especially in the United States.
I mean, I heard about this through a Huffington Post article, and I think like the introduction to the article was how Volchi, who is an Indian American girl, she was at her lunchroom with a couple of her friends, and they're all of different color, different races, and she had mentioned how important it is to talk about race. And one of her friends said, "Oh, but like look at this lunch table. Like we have like a white person, a black person, and an Asian person." And Volchi, she curiously asked that friend, "Oh, who's the black person?" And that girl said, "Oh, you," but she's Indian American. So that was kind of like a pivot point for her to be like, we need to talk about race, because just because there is diversity in like diversity visible to the eye doesn't mean that like it's an excuse to not talk about it. And like growing up, for me at least, a lot of the history textbooks, they didn't really include a lot of like Asian American history, or
they don't wear like a footnote in like the 1800 chapter.
I mean, like I got a lot of like civil rights movement stuff because obviously I'm from Georgia, and like there's a lot on that, but everything else has been kind of lacking. I don't really know much about Latino history or like Native Americans. And, like there should be more racial diversity in textbooks, and not just like in like historical terms, but also like modern terms, because it's very different now, right?
That's true. I mean, there's a lot of things that should be added to just, how we have, I don't know about your high school. My high school had an intro to high school class, which is kind of like a...
Wait, what?
it was kind of like a teaching social skills and also / sex ed, I guess.
No.
And like... but I feel like classes like that should also include things like talking about race, talking about controversial issues, and also maybe like digital literacy, like how to internet safely.
Yeah, I mean, young people nowadays, like, especially young people in high school, they have access to so much information. Like with like the Twitter movement, like Black Lives Matter, like they need to be educated on those matters. Right. And I mean, like
and the nuances, like
the nuances of it.
Yeah. For sure. Well, congrats to Volchi and to Guo for doing this and getting the conversation started. Just goes to show it's really our children that will save us in the future.
We're already dead. Like
no, we're good. We're okay.
We're dead weight.
We're doing our part. We're making a podcast about Asian American literature. Speaking of Asian American literature, the first annual Asian American Literature Festival is being put on at the Smithsonian, happening at the end of the month from July 27th to July 29th in Washington, D.C. You can check out the full schedule at smithsonianapa.org/lit/schedule. The Smithsonian APA Asian American, I think it's like commission or group, is run by Conrad Ng, who is famous for being President Obama's brother-in-law.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And it features a lot of speakers, some that have been featured on our show, others that we've mentioned before. Key people include Alexander Chi, who is a big follower on our Twitter.
Queen of the Night.
Ellen O, who we mentioned before, who is the founder of We Need More Diverse Books. T. Bui, who we've had on our show, the author and illustrator behind The Best We Could Do, and our friend Taz Ahmed, host of Good Muslim, Bad Muslim, and also writer, activist. She's written a couple anthologies, Good Girls Marry Doctors. Some really awesome featured elements of this festival include the launch of Poetry Magazine, an intimate lecture series on Asian American literature history, an address series on the state of Asian American literature, a walk-in mentoring session for writers of all levels. So if you want to have a one-on-one with some of your favorite Asian American authors, there'll be opportunity for that. Something really cool is an animated adaptation of the prologue to Viet Nguyen's Be Committed by Matt Huynh. Literoki, curated by Kaya Press, which is going to be a night of literature readings and spoken word poetry. Lots of panels about children's lit, late night salons, micro book clubs. Just going to be like a huge, huge event dedicated to Asian American literature.
I'm looking at the list of panels that they have, and there were some that I kind of really want to go to, and I'm kind of upset that we are not located in the East Coast. Nerds of Color comic curated by Keith Chow. Like, that sounds really cool. I mean,
yeah,
like I think Asians are pretty much killing it in the comic scene right now. And the Literary Lounge, where there's a book swap and they have a podcast interview station. Why are we not there?
We're not there, but some of our friends will be there. Our friend Tracy Kato-Kiriyama, Taz Ahmed. I learned about this like literally a week ago, and I have other obligations that weekend. Otherwise, I totally would have gone.
All the way to Washington, D.C.?
I would have. Well, I usually try to make at least one trip a year out there to see some friends.
I see. But yeah, the Smithsonian, they've had their Asian American book club for a while now, but I don't know how frequently they change their book. I don't know if it's like a book of the month thing, but I remember like them recommending a lot of children's books for Asian American parents.
Check that out. Again, that website is www.smithsonianapa.org/lit. And you can check out the full schedule. It should be a lot of fun. So if you're in the DC area or around the Mid-Atlantic, or just want to come down, if you're anywhere close, I mean, just come down and check it out.
And this is the first one that they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So definitely like make it if you can, because if a lot of people show up, that means they can do another year of a festival.
That's how they get the money, the budget to do the next one.
Yeah. Speaking of money, so we have an affiliate Amazon store now for our book club.
Yeah.
There's a lot of books that we're going to start putting up on there, but right now we have a lot of our book club picks. And if you haven't read our previous picks, now is a great time to shop.
Yeah,
and
check it out. If you do want to buy one of those books off of Amazon, you might as well buy it off of our affiliate store. You can throw a couple pennies our way and help us with this podcast. As always, if you have any suggestions for us, please sound off on our Goodreads forums. We'd love to hear from you, especially your thoughts on our monthly picks or any other books that you might be reading. And on that note, I guess that'll do it for this episode of Books and Boba. Thanks again for listening. Rira, have fun in Seattle.
I will.
We'll see you when we get back. And don't forget, the July book club pick is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid.
I'm probably going to buy it. I'm going to be pretty honest here because I went to 3 bookstores and they were out of stock. So I'm going to go to like a local bookstore in Seattle or maybe the Amazon bookstore in Seattle because they have one now.
You should stop by Powell's in Portland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love doing bookstore pilgrimages. They're always quite fun.
It's on the way and that bookstore is huge. So.
Yeah.
Thanks again for listening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye. Books and Boba was hosted by Marvin Yue and Rira Yu and edited by Marvin Yue. Don't forget to join the Books and Boba Goodreads group to share your thoughts about our monthly book picks as well as share updates and book news with your fellow book club members. Books and Boba is a proud member of the Potluck Podcast Collective, a collective of podcasts featuring unique voices from the Asian American community. If you like Books and Boba, check out our other great podcasts such as the Collabcast, the official podcast of the collaboration movement, taking a weekly look at pop culture and the creative life from an Asian American perspective. Check out the Collabcast and the other great programs of the Potluck Collective by going to the website www.podcastpotluck.com.